Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Harris, and welcome to Research Tuesday, a 5-minute-ish hot take on some current-ish research. And so what we're going to dive in today is something that's very contested among health providers, and that is red meat. The conventional dogma has been to decrease our intake of red meat, but we're seeing that that doesn't stand the test of time. And there's a couple reasons for that. The main one is that there's a big difference between unprocessed red meat and processed red meat. And a lot of the older studies didn't really differentiate the two. And so when you look at the difference, it actually equates that there was no adverse risk from eating red meat. And that's what this study talks about. So it looked at red meat intake as a meta-analysis. So it pooled together studies and looked at, is there a correlation between red meat intake and markers of cardiovascular disease? So specifically, they looked at blood sugars, insulin levels, HOMA-IR, which is a model that you can use for insulin resistance. They looked at hemoglobin A1C, CRP, and then some of the studies actually had TNF alpha, which is another inflammatory molecule. And so what did they actually find? They found that there was no difference in these markers between eating those who ate red meat. And so this further qualifies that there's no real indication to limit the intake of unprocessed red meat. So now this study mainly looked at previous studies that looked at unprocessed red meat. And what we in the holistic world, we do say it's okay to eat red meat. Most of your diet should be plant-based. 50 to 75% of your plate should be vegetables and fruits and stuff like that. But the red meat is not a killer. And some of the confounding factors in a lot of these studies were that people who eat red meat tended to have worse lifestyle measures. They tended to be more obese, more smokers, eat less fruits, eat less vegetables. So there was some massive red herrings, or what we call confounders, present in these previous studies. And the other issue with a lot of these previous studies, like I said, they didn't differentiate between unprocessed red meat and processed red meat. We know that processed food dramatically increases your risk for a bunch of things. Every 10% increase in processed food is a 15% increase in your risk of diabetes. Processed food is linked to cancer. Processed food is linked to cardiovascular disease. So the main thing here is that if you look at unprocessed meat intake, which is what the meta-analysis, this group of studies mainly looked at, they didn't see any difference in several key markers of inflammation that put people at risk for cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and a lot of other conditions. And like we said, that in general, these previous studies in the U.S., the cohort of people in the U.S., those who tend to consume lots of red meat tend to consume lots of processed red meat, more likely to smoke, more likely to be sedentary, eat fewer fruits, vegetables, and fiber, and eat a lot more added sugar and have a higher body mass index. Well, all of those things are correlated to cardiovascular disease. So again, this is another case of not taking the data and interpreting it in the correct way, not asking the right questions before. But now we know that, hey, unprocessed red meat doesn't seem to cause the same associations that processed red meat does. And so if you're getting your red meat, I always recommend grass-fed, grass-finished if you can. It has a different fat profile, it has a different nutrient profile, and that's what we eat in our household. We still eat primarily fruits and vegetables, nuts. That's primary. I only have meat once a day, if that. And there's some days where I don't do meat. But I'm not afraid of eating unprocessed, grass-fed, grass-finished red meat. So this has been Research Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're looking for more of our lifestyle recommendations, the power of lifestyle medicine, what we recommend to our clients, you can head to our website, theghwellness.com, click programs. Our wellness program, the 5-pillar program, actually the 5-pillar bundle, it includes healthy habits, how you develop and maintain habits. That is the essence of lifestyle medicine, which is the most important type of medicine. So thank you for listening, and God bless.